And now it's time for Windy City Sports Talk. And your host, Ryan Young. Hello, Chicago! Welcome to this live Tuesday edition, September the 20th of Windy City Sports Talk. I am Ryan Young. I'll be here for the next half hour recapping and previewing everything in the world of Chicago sports. You can follow me on Twitter at ringside_rep. Of course, a lot of stuff to get to of what took place on Monday. I was in Chicago. I was on the right side of town. For Chicago, for sports-wise. I was at the Cub game last night. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But we got a lot of stuff to get to before that. We got to head off to... again, it's great to be live. This might be probably will be the only live show of the week because I'll be working a lot more, working the rest of the week. So tomorrow's show I'll be recording tonight and so on and so forth. But I appreciate everyone that listens and appreciate your intake and all that stuff. Okay, let's start off by recapping Monday Night Football. Bears and the Eagles. The Bears home opener as they welcome in the Philadelphia Eagles and Carson Wentz. Well, early on, the Eagles got out to a 3-0 lead on a field goal. Then it looked like the Bears were going to get a chance to tie it up, but their new field goal kicker, Connor or whatever, what's-his-nuts, missed it, and it's still 3-0. But then you see the Bears have a 7-3 lead on a Jeremy Langford rushing touchdown, makes it 7-3, and pretty much the wheels came off after that for the Bears. As one thing, I mean, I didn't get a chance to watch it. Via social media, I was tuning in. The last time I looked at it on my phone when I was in the game was at they were winning 7-3, and then all of a sudden, all I saw was a lot of posts about John Gruden pretty much talking about Carson Wentz for 3 hours. And I did just watch the highlights of it, or the lowlights if you're a Bear fan. And they came out and did not play well. And one thing I was very disturbed by was the red zone touchdown by Ryan Matthews, where it looked like they had him, and then all of a sudden he turned or stayed on his feet and went around and was able to score. So defensively, nothing good. The injuries in that game, I still don't know if there's a official word on what we got for Jay Cutler. I saw one article that says he's out for the year, but it looks like it's going to be very, very a long injury. The numbers for Carson Wentz, 21 of 34, 190 and a touchdown. Cutler, 12 of 17, 157 yards, 1 interception. It hasn't gone well, folks. I've not been on the Cutler bandwagon for a while, and that was my question I sent out to the Facebook Nation today. Just wondering what people's thoughts were. And this was the exact post. I want at Chicago Bears fans to answer me. When did you finally jump off the Jay Cutler train? Because you would think after last night's game that you're not sure that train could have a capacity of maybe one, and that could be maybe his wife. Which if he acts the way he does on camera that he does off camera, maybe she's not on that train either. Couple people. This is some of the responses I got. Chris Valek said, still not off of it. And I even asked him, like, you think he'll play another game as a Bear? Because, of course, if he's out for this year, do they give up on him? I should have done my research. I'm not sure what his record or what his contract is. But and he said probably he's our best QB. Get another one that says I'm still on it too. You got a Packer fan that says he's a crybaby bitch. And what I said, and I think this is the truth, I think a lot of Bears fans just don't want to go through the QB cycle again. And whether he's on the team or not, they're doing it. Because between the last couple of years, he's not been healthy. So you really can't sit there and say, oh, well, we want Jay Cutler. But guess what? That's not how it works. I mean, Jay Cutler is not helping this football team. And if you think he's helping this team, then are you really looking at the big picture? Because he hasn't. I was baffled to find out today that and I mean, I should know this, but I didn't. He has 0 Pro Bowls. There was 11 quarterbacks that made the Pro Bowl last year, not one being Jay Cutler. And he actually had, I think last year was one of his better years. He's got 1 playoff win. the year they went to the NFC Championship and lost to the Packers. So, I mean, that's probably his claim to fame, if you really want it to be that, is the fact of that. So, is this the end for him? And I think a lot of people are still hell-bent and want him to still be a Chicago Bear. And I want to know why. I don't think he has not shown anything. You look at any other quarterback in this league, well, maybe not all of them, but the starting quarterbacks, they're pumping people up. Like Cam Newton, for example. He's out there pumping up his team. If it's not about Jay Cutler, he does not care. They show him on the sideline intentionally to prove to people that this guy is an asshole. And that's exactly what he is. And for a lot of you people to go out there and say, oh, well, he's still our guy. Even Brandon, the guy, he's been a Jay Cutler ass kiss for years. And he finally said, Brian Hoyer's probably our guy. Now, is that the way you want to go? No. Like I said, I had this team projected at 9-7. Now it's looking like they might not even get 3 wins. Like, this team is just finding new ways to lose, and now they're doing it on a national stage. They did it on Monday Night Football. This week, upcoming week, they're going to be doing it on Sunday Night Football. So there's really, really nothing that can surprise you with this football team. And I'm going to look right now to see if they have an injury update on Jay Cutler. Because I think they're just trying to keep it hush-hush. Everything that 2 hours ago, Cutler and Trevathan will miss time with thumb. And apparently Cutler was hurt before this game. He got hurt in Houston. And it wasn't on the injury report. Well, isn't that kind of against the rules? I mean, I don't know how many rules they really go by in the NFL anymore. But that's a game. That's something that needs to be on there. Because now he's even more seriously injured. And you're, as painful as it says, you probably want him out there. Now, you can't blame it all on one game. Because like I just said, he wasn't 100%. He wasn't him. But 100% him hasn't been able to do the job either, even when this team was stacked. Yeah, I heard Jeff Garland on a TV interview today. A big comedian. He's on a bunch of stuff. And he's on the Goldbergs. And he says that it's pretty much... He gets comp tickets from the Bears. He's a Chicago guy. He's a big Cub fan. And he said pretty much that, hey, that front office sucks. And it does. You thought there was all them years, you're like, okay, Jerry Angela's out. Stuff's going to change. It hasn't. That's the same exact way I feel about the Chicago Bulls. But then I can decide to do a Chicago podcast where I'm forced to watch all these things. Well, the Bulls haven't started yet, but having to see the Bears has been a nightmare so far. 2 games. He's got 14 more to go. You think it's going to get any easier for this football team? I don't think so. So, I don't really know what else to think or anything with this team. But you got to think John Fox is regretting coming to this city, or to this team. City's great. I love the city. If you're on the right side of it. But it's just a bad situation, and like kind of how Tom Thibodeau got thrown into it on the other side, on the west side for the Bulls. It's a bunch of bullshit, and they just throw everyone out there. As long as they have asses in the seats, they don't care about the team. They just want to make money. It's a business. That's what they want, is to make money. And that's what they're doing. So, because I'm sure the place was full last night. I'm guaranteed. I know season ticket holders that don't go to any games. Spend the money, make the money back, sit home and watch the train wreck from afar. No need to watch the demolition derby up close and personal. It's just unbearable. That should be, I wonder if that was in the front of the Tribune today, unbearable, because that's what this team is. And is it going to get much better? Brian Hoyer, he's not going to be the knight in shining armor. Yeah, he took the Texans to the playoffs last year, but is it really going to help? This team is not playoff ready. They're 0-2, already 2 games out. How much, I mean, they still have a crap load against all their division opponents. They got the Lions in 2 weeks. Doesn't really matter anymore. Bears lose, they're 0-2. We'll preview their next disaster on Friday when they play Sunday night on. More national exposure for this team. Yippee-yi-yo! As they face the Dallas Cowboys another team that's kind of a train wreck, so it'll be fun. And a beautiful stadium, I might add. I was there for WrestleMania last year, but that'll be later. Let's go from that to what took place earlier in the afternoon. The White Sox did battle with the Kansas City Royals, the finale of that 4-game series, a makeup game from May the 26th. And the Sox lost 2 of the first 3. They won the opener Friday night, and they lose Saturday, Sunday, and then they lose Monday of a final of 8-3. Ventura got the win at 11-11. Rodon gets a loss at 7-10. So the Royals, I think they obviously needed that. They needed it if they wanted a chance to, I don't think, get back in the division. They're still 9.5 games out, but they're 5 games out of the wild card, which is still a lot, but it keeps them afloat. And I think the wild card right now is getting pretty to the point where the wild card's getting to the point where I think you got your matchup. Detroit's still 2.5 games out, but you got Baltimore, Toronto. As of right now, they have the same exact record. So, and as of right now, it'd be Baltimore ahead of Toronto. So that game would be in Camden Yards right now. And that game will be on Tuesday, October the 4th. And then, of course, the National League game, which will have some effect with the Cubs, will be on the 5th. And the Cubs' first game of the playoffs will be Friday, October 7th from Wrigley. So the standings, as it looks, nothing really changes. The Yankees had a terrible weekend. I think they're looking outside looking in. I think they're done. It's starting to get separated. Toronto and Baltimore doing their thing. Houston is still alive. They're still 3 out. Yankees, like I said, lost 5 in a row. They're in Tampa. They're going to be, the Detroit is in Minnesota, so if they want to have any chance of coming back. And then, let's see here, Toronto's and Seattle are facing each other. And Toronto won last night. And then Boston and Baltimore are facing each other, and Baltimore lost. So that's the American League wild card standings, and a postseason picture. It's interesting because, like I said, the series I want to see in the American League to keep me interested would be the Rangers and the Blue Jays once again. And as of right now, the wild card game is Toronto and the Orioles, and the winner will face the team with the best record, and that is Texas. I want to see a Ranger-Blue Jays series to really get the blood flowing in the playoffs. I'm sure with my team being in there anyway, the Cubs, I'm going to have enough fun in the playoffs anyway. But why not make it even more fun to cover from the American League standpoint? And I think the 2 World Series contenders in the American League are facing off against each other. I think whoever wins that series between Boston and Cleveland, Boston's getting hot right now. So why not them have an opportunity to do it? And what a series that would be. Boston and Poppy's final year, Cubs, the big drought. It'll be fun, but again, a lot of time, a lot of ways. I mean, if there's 7-game World Series, I believe it'll go into it'll be the final 2 would be on the American League team in November 1st and 2nd. It's crazy. Cut your turkey with some World Series. Okay, that's the Sox. They lose. We'll preview their other side in a little bit. We took about 10 minutes on the Bears. Did about 5 minutes on the Sox. That's pretty much all you can really do. They try to play spoiler. They can't do it. Give Kansas City still a fighting chance to defend their World Series, but it is just not looking good, and injuries starting to get to them just like it has a lot of teams. And for the second straight year, the Cubs have not had very many injuries. Cubs last night were home to start a series with the Reds. That game early on, Brandon Phillips with a solo home run makes it 1-0. They had another one on a sacrifice fly, makes it 2-0. And I specifically said I was with my cousin Mare, and I could not find, I was sitting at the game, I could not find the Madden hot dog. I was very upset. I believe it's in the bleacher or the Brat or whatever. So I went to Bernie's, and I recommend anyone that goes down to Wrigleyville to go to Bernie's and get the steak sandwich. $13, but oh. But anyway, I sat there and I said, Mare, this team needs to get their head out of their ass. And what happens? Radisson Russell solo home run, 2-1. Wilson Contreras hit a home run that still might be going. I don't know what street that is off. I think that's Waveland in left field. And I went down the street. Like, wow. And then Jason Hayward finally gets on, and I'm like, dang, it's like a full moon. Hayward did something, and he got it, and they win. of a final of 5-2. Jason Hamill got a win. He pitched very well once he got the support. He goes a 15-9. I think he's trying to solidify himself as a bullpen guy. Wood gets a loss at 6-4, and Chapman got his 35th save. His first career appearance against the team that he signed with being the Cincinnati Reds. So, big win for the Cubs. The Nationals lost, so they went from 7-5 in the magic number to clinch home field, which means you have to come into Wrigley Field, which it has been done because the Mets did it last year. But you have to go through Wrigley Field to try to win that World Series. And the Mets, I don't know, look at the wild card standings right now for the National League. It's a three-way tie. Or it's a three-way. You have the Mets, one game up on the Giants, which means right now, as if the playoffs started today, the Mets would host, and the Giants and Cardinals would have a one-game playoff on the Friday in San Francisco, or on the Monday after the season in San Francisco. But of course, the Cardinals are facing a struggling Rocky team, and the Giants are in Los Angeles, and apparently there was some hoopla last night between Yasiel Puig and Madison Bumgarner. And I want to see if I can get the audio here, and I'll let you guys listen, because I haven't seen it either. I want to watch it. But of course, I get zero service connection over here. Yeah, Vin Scully calls it. See if I can get this going here. But anyway, so right now the Giants and Cardinals tied up at, or even here we go.
Was furious, and we're wondering why. And on this play at first base,
oops. My thing just. See if I can get that back. That was Vin Scully. Sportsnet LA.
Bumgarner was furious, and we're wondering why. And on this play at first base, the fellas down in the field tell me that Bumgarner kept saying, howling, I guess, at Puig, "Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me." That's what it looks like he's saying. And the next thing you know, Puig is saying something to the effect, "What are you going to do to me?" What? What you do to me? What you do to me? So one saying, "What you do to me," and the other saying, "Don't look at me." Okay, we are going to the 8th inning in the latest drama of the Giants and the Dodgers.
So that's always the funnest, whatever. You never know what's going to happen between the Giants and Dodgers. Dodgers right now lead the West, and the Giants, like we said, tied for that second wild card. So that's both teams fighting for a playoff spot. We have about 10 minutes left on the show and some stuff to preview, but we got the Windy City Sports Minute that's kind of happening right now. This is your Windy City Sports Minute for Tuesday, September the 20th. The Bears become the Bears once again in their home opener as they host the Philadelphia Eagles and lose of a final of 29-14. Injuries galore in that game, including starting quarterback Jay Cutler. Still no word, but it's apparently a lengthy injury to the quarterback. But on the other side of town, the north side, Cubs able to win the opener of a 3-game series with the Cincinnati Reds as the Bats finally wake up with a final of 5-2. White Sox finish off a 4-game series and lose 3 out of 4 to the Royals, a final of 8-3. Sox are in Philadelphia tonight, 6 p.m. on WGN. Cubs are home for Game 2 against the Cincinnati Reds at 7 p.m. on Comcast Sportsnet. John Lester at 17-4 going to the bump for the Cubs. That is your Windy City Sports Minute. Now back to Windy City Sports Talk. Welcome back here to Windy City Sports Talk. I love that song, by the way. It's Jason Hamill's warm-up song, Alive by Pearl Jam. Of course, Eddie Vedder, one of the big Chicago Cub fan. Of course, that's what that was. Time to preview some stuff for tonight. We got about 10 minutes left to go on the program. Glad to appreciate everyone listening and chiming in, and appreciate anyone that the feedback. The ratings have been a little low since Papa Sean's been gone. Of course, he returned from his vacation back to work yesterday, and I think he don't really plan on taking any vacation during the playoffs, except for the World Series. So I believe he has a couple vacation days coming up still in September. I'll let you know. I don't know, but I think next Thursday he's off for some reason. So maybe we'll have him on next week, but nothing official. With the big galoot, Papa Sean, and we appreciate him. I had so much fun having him on. Usually, and I told him this, I haven't told him this, I kind of told everyone else. Usually when he's on vacation, we butt heads a lot, and this time it didn't. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I didn't want him to go back to work. And of course, he's retiring next year, so kind of get my wish. Okay, let's time to preview some games. Sox start a 2-game series with the Fightin' Phils, who are rebuilding. That game will be on at 6 p.m. on WGN. Channel 9. James Shields going to the bump, 5-17, a 584 against Thompson at 2-5 with a 564. I think this is a series, of course, like the Sox. They're finishing off their, I believe. They'll be on the road this weekend, and then they'll come home to close out the season. But now you get a chance to face this Philly team again. It's a team that's rebuilding, but the Sox right now in disarray as well. But you're hoping for the Sox to come out here, play some good baseball, and try to, because, I mean, Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia is a hitter's dream. That ball flies out of there. But the only problem with that is James Shields is on the mound today. So over-under is 7 runs giving up tonight. So I think when you look at that, you have 7 runs at the over/under. I don't even know. I don't do betting lines, but I'm gonna check see if there's a betting line. Phillies betting line. Oddshark.com. I don't know. I don't see anything. I don't know about that game. See if I can. Does anyone? Apparently, no one bet on the sucky teams. Cubs are favored tonight, 290. See, I don't know what any of this means. A lot of people have the Phillies. I don't know. But anyway, or that's the odds. I don't know. I can't tell you, but I would say, if I had to pick, I'd say, is James Shields going to have a big game tonight? Probably not. I don't really feel it. Here's the Sox Phillies. The run line, Philly favored by a 1.5. I think that I'm going to take the over on that. Jake Thompson against James Shields. Shields has given up a lot of runs. I take the over. I've never talked betting before on a sports show, and I did today because James Shields is terrible. That tells you something, folks. But anyway, that game tonight, 6 p.m. from Great America, Citizens Bank Park. Looking forward to that. It's going to be a test. I mean, James Shields has been a nightmare since he came over here from, San Diego? And just has not gone his way. Let's shift gears to the north side. Cubs-Reds tonight. Game 2 at 7 p.m. on Comcast Sports. You got Smith at 3-1 with a 497. Going up against a possible Cy Young candidate in John Lester, 17-4 with a 240. Now, he knows, I think he's big. If he can just keep pitching the way he is, I think right now he has solidified himself as the number 1 starter for the postseason and definitely in that division series. So, we'll see. But it's going to be fun to see how he pitches tonight. He's facing a struggling Reds team that really, off the top of my head, I knew 3 guys in their lineup. 2 of them, Joey Votto, Brandon Phillips. The other one was Tucker Barnhart. So I think, the Cubs, I think that crowd was popping last night. Like, it was loud, it was exciting. That's going to keep them up and motivated going into that, and then the Cardinals are in. They're going to try to play spoiler with them over the weekend. I think that's going to be fun. Then you go to Pittsburgh, which they're going to be out of it, and then you're going to go to Cincinnati, which they're done. So can you keep that motivation? Apparently there's a report going around. I believe Joe Madden might have said it today in an interview on Radio 670 The Score, that he said that I believe they're going to do like an inter-squad game, try to keep each other loose because they are off. Their last game is Sunday the 2nd. They do not play till Friday, October 7th for the playoffs. So why not? Just please don't no one get hurt and don't overwork yourself just to stay loose. And that full lineup that whole lineup was in there yesterday. So I think Joe knows that, hey, maybe some of these days we'll do it and some of these days we won't. And you just got to figure it out when you still got 5 more home games and 6 road games. As this team tries to continue to do their thing, and I think every Cub fan's just ready for the playoffs to see what's going to happen next. Can they do it? This season is a flop. I'm not going to say failure because they've done a lot of great things. It's a flop if they don't make it to the World Series. Or do you say a positive is actually getting a win in the NLCS? Because they didn't even get a win in that last year. But you'd like to get to the World Series. I mean, if you go 7 in the NLCS, I consider that a plus. Last year they went 4. So I think there's different ways of talking about that, and I'm sure that'll be my poll question in the next couple of weeks. But a lot of people saying they're their pick. I was watching New York talk. They think the Mets can win the wild card possibly, but not get out of that Cubs series. Last year was a complete different thing because their pitchers were healthy. They got one of those pitchers left healthy. Next year, I think what you're going to probably see possibly is you're going to get that rematch I wanted this year. That pitching staff of the Mets against the Cubs, and maybe the Cubs even add another starter. So we'll see. That's a long way down the road. Got to focus on this year because they might meet in the National League Division Series. That picture starts to get a little bit more clearer by every day, and October 5th, we'll have a Division Series ready. Because I believe the next day, I thought it was an off day, the American League playoffs begin. It'll be fun. We'll have a lot of playoff sports to talk. Then, by the way, hockey jumps in, and basketball. But that stuff's going to probably take a back burner if the Cubs make a deep run. Okay, also another interesting point. We have 2 minutes remaining left in the show. We take the shuttle. We did the free shuttle from Wrigley from Rockwell, and it was a deal because they park right in front of if you've ever been to Wrigley, the DraftKings Sports Zone, and we took the bus, but the line was all the way down to where the visiting team comes out. The first bus already left because I had to walk with my cousin to go to the bathroom. But then when we came back, the second bus was still there. The lights were on the windows. I look in there. I don't look in there, but I look and see from the window. Who do I see? The Brennemans. Which for you folks that don't know Marty Brenneman, he's bashed the Cubs for years. He's a famous radio announcer. Tom Brenneman, he called the Bear game last week in Houston. He's a Reds announcer, former Cubs announcer. So, I mean, they're just sour grapes, always. And then I saw Chris Welsh as well. But I'm a media guy. I enjoy seeing announcers, so I'd rather see them. I mean, I'd ask for their autograph, but they were already in the bus. But so be it. And they're the Brennemans, and they always dish. And they're just like Al Roboski and the Cardinals. So that's that. So I just wanted to address that. I thought it was fun. They come out pretty quick. I give them credit. They shower, then they get the heck out of there. Preview for tomorrow, we're going to recap Cubs-Reds Game 2 and Sox-Phillies Game 1. We're going to preview Cubs-Reds Game 2, or Game 3, and Sox-Phillies Game 2. Both teams are off on Thursday as well. So that is it for us. Everyone have a great night, and enjoy some baseball. And we'll be back. It won't be live tomorrow, but we'll be here, as always, to recap everything. Have a great day, Chicago.